1, 2, 3. What's going on, everybody? It's Mr. Cruz, your band and orchestra teacher, and in today's video I'm going to be explaining how to play a 1-octave chromatic scale on the trumpet starting on low C. If you haven't watched my first video about the chromatic scale, please watch that first. In that video I explain how the chromatic scale is laid out in half steps using a piano as a visual guide. And I also explain in that video the concept of enharmonic equivalents, which is when you have two different pitch names for the same sounding pitch. For example, I don't know, C sharp and D flat. Even though they have different spellings, C sharp, D flat, it's the same exact sounding pitch. So please watch that first video about chromatic scales. If you've already watched that video, the next thing I want to remind you all is that we are playing chromatic scale number 4 in the scale handout that I gave every one of my band students. Chromatic scale number 4. If you don't have that handout, or you are not one of my band students, please go to hailbands.org. I left that link in the description below. Once you're in that website, go to the top where there's a search bar, and just type in chromatic scales, and you'll be directed to a page that has chromatic scales and major scales for every instrument that I teach in my band program. So with that said, let's get moving. So the chromatic scale, it's basically playing every single note on your instrument. Every single note on your instrument, ascending and descending in half steps. Another way to look at the chromatic scale is think of playing your C major scale on your trumpet. Think about playing your C major scale on trumpet, plus all the notes that you didn't play. For example, between C and D, okay, there was low C sharp, 1, 2, 3. Or between D and E, between those two, was D sharp, which was 2, 3. So it's playing every single note on your instrument. I'm never going to forget my middle school band teacher telling me when I was in junior high, that when you play your chromatic scale, you're basically playing every single note on your instrument. And once you know every single note on your instrument, you could play any song written for your instrument. So these chromatic scales are really important. So the chromatic scale, I'm going to go over every single fingering and note name with you. Follow along visually, watching me play the trumpet or describe the fingerings, and also follow along with the scale handout that you have from that was passed out to you. So the chromatic scale on trumpet. C is open. C sharp, 1, 2, 3, and I like to throw out the third valve slide because that's a very sharp note in an instrument. D, 1, 3, also with the third valve slide thrown out. After D is D sharp, 2, 3, followed by E, 1, 2, F, 1, F sharp, 2, G, open, G sharp, 2, 3, A, 1, 2, A sharp, 1, B, second, B, second valve, then C, open. Descending, C is open, B, second valve, B flat first, A, 1, 2, A flat, 2, 3, G, open, G flat, 2, F, 1, E, 1, 2, E flat, 2, 3, D, 1, 3, again, throughout your third valve slide. D flat, 1, 2, 3, throughout your third valve slide. And C, open. That's your chromatic scale. Those are all the fingerings and the notes for the chromatic scale on trumpet starting on C. If your third valve slide doesn't work or you don't have a ring for it, just keep in mind that those are sharp notes on the instrument, C sharp and D, and that needs to be thrown out. And you might want to get that third valve slide fixed. So that's the chromatic scale. I'm going to replay the chromatic scale for you. I was playing it for you in the beginning of this video. I'm going to play it again for you right now. 1, 2, 3. So that was your C chromatic scale, or chromatic scale number 4 from my handout. That was your C chromatic scale on trumpet in 1 octave. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to send me a Schoology message or an email through our district email. If you're not one of my students and you have a question for me, leave a question in the comments below. And as always, feel free to pause and rewind and watch segments of this video as many times as you need to really understand what's going on. So that is the 1 octave chromatic scale on trumpet starting on C. Good luck and happy practicing.